and welcome to another episode of Hustle and Food. I am your host, Hustle Goddess, and if you couldn't tell from my walk up, it is pajama day because we are making pancakes. These are the perfect Sunday morning recipe, and they are the amazing, most fluffy things you'll ever have, and I'm gonna make them with a mango topping. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna sift 1.5 cups of flour, and we're gonna prepare the pancake mix first before we get into the mango topping, just so it's out of the way. So again, because I'm not a professional chef, but I am a cook, I'm just gonna level off the flour with my finger. So this is a 1/2 cup measuring cup, so I'm gonna put 3 of them in here. But to make it easier to sift, I'm just gonna sift 1/2 cup at a time. And you want a really big bowl if you have it, just because it makes the movement a little bit easier. So that is 1 full cup, and I have 1 more 1/2 cup to put in. And obviously, if you need to double the recipe, triple the recipe, do whatever you want. So what you're gonna need here is 1 1/4 cups of whole milk. You're gonna need 3 tablespoons of melted butter, so we're gonna melt it later. You're gonna need baking powder, all-purpose baking flour, 1 egg, a few tablespoons of sugar, that's gonna be up to your discretion, and a pinch of salt. That's what you're gonna need for the pancakes. So after you have sifted together your flour and your baking powder, you're just gonna add 1 tablespoon of regular sugar, and you're gonna add 1 teaspoon of regular salt. So these pancakes themselves are not going to be super sweet because the topping is gonna be really sweet. But a little added thing that I do add that I should have mentioned before, but it isn't necessary, is some vanilla extract. Vanilla extract itself tastes terrible. It's all about the aroma. You don't want to drink vanilla extract and think that you're gonna get it to taste like vanilla, but I actually just add a capful, just so when the pancakes are cooking in the pan, people are like, ah, it smells like some delicious vanilla cake. So after you've added the salt, the sugar, and a little secret ingredient, you want to add your 1 1/4 cup of whole milk. You can actually do this with any kind of milk, but obviously the fattier the milk, kind of the more unctuous and, delightful the pancakes are. I am actually, funny enough, lactose intolerant. By the way, you want to add an egg. But to cook with lactose-free milk or soy milk can have an impact on the recipe. And so I do try and avoid it if it's not gonna hurt me super terribly. The same way with butter. If you can't get butter wherever you are, if you have regular Blue Band, or if you have a liquid fat like a vegetable oil, that is okay too. So let's see if I was able to guess. As you can see, it melted completely, and that is what you want. So I got 1 tablespoon. I think I'm gonna be too short. 2 tablespoons and a little extra. And I am too short. So let me just cut off a little bit extra butter because it never hurt anyone. And for now, I only have to pop it in for 10 seconds. We have our tiny little pat of butter, and I'm just trying to melt. And butter has a super low melting temperature, thankfully. So once you just stir it up a little bit, it's now completely melted. And I now have the correct amount, 3 tablespoons of butter. So I'm gonna mix it. And here's the thing, pancakes can be not difficult, but the mix can be a little finicky. So here's a few tricks when making pancakes. The instinct is to get the batter as smooth as possible, but you actually want it to be a little bit lumpy, as bad as that sounds. But if you look right now, it's a little bit too liquid. It's not like a batter, the thickness that I want. So to fix that, I'm just gonna add a little bit more flour. Now, so I'm just gonna put my sieve back and I'm going to grab my flour, and I'm not going to do the addition by cups or even half cups. I'm gonna do it by like quarter cups, you know, like this is a half cup and now I'm half. So that's a quarter cup extra flour, and I'm gonna sieve that in, and I'm gonna slowly work it up until I get the exact sort of consistency that I want. So as you can see, I just added, again, a little bit more flour, just like even a tablespoon. And when I move it around, you can see that there's still just some small lumps in it. Honestly, I couldn't tell you the science behind it. All I know is that is how pancake mix has worked as long as I've ever known it. But it still has like a velvety, thick texture, kind of like a brownie batter. You know, batters should be thick. They shouldn't be super watery. So we are done with our pancake batter, and we are gonna put it to the side right now. So now we're gonna cut up our mangoes for the topping. So unfortunately, I feel like there's no elegant way to cut a mango. If anyone knows of an elegant way to cut a mango, please let me know. So the easiest way I find to cube a mango is you have them in, you know, these sticks, and then you run your knife across the back, you cut off that little bit, and then you're left with, you know, these slices, and then you just cube them. I abused this mango slice a little bit, but so now when you have the halves, you just cut them into little, I don't know, mango boats, we'll call them. And you run your knife. Again, you want to be very careful when you do this, but usually the skin just comes right off. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna begin cooking the mangoes. So I have a high-walled pot here. If you don't have a pot like this, that's fine, but you wanna make sure that you're using something a bit thicker than a sufria, just so you don't want things to burn, you know, cook too quickly. So, as always, I'm going to manually light my stove. Somebody please sponsor me. And I'm gonna cut in some butter into the pan. Again, butter, I'm also gonna use a little extra bit that I didn't use from before. Butter is one of those ingredients that you cook with your heart. You measure with your heart in a lot of instances. So we're just going to wait for this to melt and get a little bit warm before we add in the mango. And as the mango kind of slowly cooks down, we're also gonna add sugar so it caramelizes. And as the mango's getting happy and sugary and nice, we're going to begin the pancakes. So for the pancakes, what you're gonna need is the mix, and you no longer need your handy dandy whisk, but you do need like a scoop. I use a ladle just because it's the easiest thing. If you have a measuring cup, that's also fine too. Some people put it in their measuring cup that's way back there, and they just pour it in. I'm just partial to a ladle. So, as you can see, the mix stayed totally fine. Nothing happened to it. It's okay that you left it alone for a little bit. This butter is moving along nicely. It's not, you know, the handles are not hot enough that I can't pick it up. So you can start to see it's swirling around and getting all nice. So now that it's completely melted, I'm going to add in my mango. And then I am going to take a wooden spoon from right here, and I'm going to just stir, and I'm gonna coat all of the mango in. Oh my God, I left a bit of skin. Don't cut this out, oh my God. And so I'm gonna mix this in, and now, to get the syrupy aspect, you can't just rely on the sugar from the mango. So you're actually going to add in some sugar on yourself. So I have a measuring spoon that is dirty. So again, I guess we're gonna measure the sugar with love. And so I am just going to sort of sprinkle it on top, and you're just looking for like a generous amount of sugar. I would probably say for this amount of mango, for 3 mangoes, a quarter cup of sugar. And then for butter, probably 3 to 4 tablespoons. And as you go, you might add water to thin it out, or you might add butter to thicken it. Again, this recipe is more about a consistency than it is about measurements, or at least the mango recipe is more about consistency rather. So the mangoes are happily cooking away, and they're gonna be cooking away over like medium to low heat. My burners unfortunately don't go that low, so I have to keep an eye on it. And now we're going to cook the pancakes. So I'm going to turn my stove on, and I'm going to put a little bit of oil in the pan. I'm going to use the cup that most oil comes with to just sort of pour simply. So you just wanna swirl the oil in the pan so the whole thing is coated, and I'm going to take a ladle full of pancake mix and just let the excess drip a little bit, and you're gonna put it in the pan. And I'm gonna turn up the heat just a little bit, but there is a trick to seeing when a pancake is ready to flip. But as this pancake, we wait for the signs to show, I'm gonna show you a little bit of how the mango looks. So as you can see, the mangoes have started to get kind of syrupy. You know, they've started to release a little bit of like their juices. So this pancake, as you can see, it started to form tiny, tiny little bubbles kind of in the inside, but you're looking for the bubbles to form around the edge. So if I look, it's very, very blonde right now. I wish I could show it to you, but what I can tell you for sure is, if I were to flip it, you'd be like, girl, that pancake is not done. That is nowhere near done. And so we're gonna sit for a little bit longer, and I'm just gonna swirl the oil to make sure everything gets around it. And so as you can also see, like, it's forming a skin, the bubbles are really there, and for a pancake, it can be matters of like seconds. So just flip it, boom. As you can see, it started to like golden, things like that. Pancakes are always gonna have, like homemade ones, are gonna have that little ring around it. It's like, you know, bread forms a crust, so why not? I actually really like it. But so now you're just going to sit and chill, and that pancake's probably gonna need another minute on the other side. You know, as you can see, it's not like super, super, super fluffy, so it's gonna be underdone, but I do promise you these gonna be our restaurant quality pancakes. And scoop it out, flip it, boom. Beautiful pancake. As you can see, the pancakes are done and they're looking absolutely beautiful. I hope you can see how like golden they are on camera. Nice little golden finish. But now I'm gonna get back to the mango, and I shut mine off just because I wanted to make sure you saw as much as possible. So I'm gonna turn my stove back on, and it's okay if you needed to turn your mangoes off to concentrate on the pancakes. No one will blame you. But so now, they pretty immediately start to like sizzle, but you can see it's like, you know, like mango applesauce kind of thing. So I'm gonna keep the heat very, very low, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of lemon zest, some juice, and I'm gonna add just a sliver of butter, just because I've been kind of messing with them and reheating them. And so I wanna make sure that like they're very unctuous, you know, I don't know how to describe the word unctuous. Umami, nice, you know, buttery, I guess unctuous is what butteriness is. But so I do not have a zester, so I have my grater, and it has a zester side on it. If you have a zester, congratulations, can you also get me one? But so now what I'm gonna do is, you only want the rind. You don't want the white underbelly. The white underbelly, I'll show you in a second. This is called the pith, and the pith of a lemon or the pith of any sort of citrus fruit is very, very, very bitter. And so when you're zesting, you wanna be sure to move the fruit around quite a bit so you never zest too much. I'm just gonna move this dang spoon out of the way. And I know you're not seeing anything fall into the bowl right now. It's because this is a box grater, so I have to tap it in. But so I'm just going to grate as much of the zest as I can. And the zest doesn't actually add flavor, it adds aroma because it's releasing the oils as you go. Even right now I can like smell how nice and lemony it is. And then we're gonna add our secret ingredient. So if you look inside, there's just a little bit of zest that I have to tap out. So again, anyone who wants to sponsor me for a zester, feel free. So I'm just gonna mix this in. And now I am going to add lemon juice. So now I'm gonna be very bad and cut it directly on my counter. I am sorry. But so I'm just gonna hold my hand under, make sure I'm catching any of the seeds. I'm just gonna squeeze in the juice, which is gonna thin it out, but don't worry, because by now your mangoes are probably cooking down. The mangoes have definitely cooked down quite a bit, and so thinning it out with this juice, again, it's a benefit. I'm gonna add the whole lemon, because I added, you know, I had 3 mangoes, so 1 lemon. 1 to 3 sounds like science. Again, just catching the seeds, because that would be really inconvenient to eat. And so I'm gonna put that in my garbage bowl, and I have a little towel here to wipe my hands. My heat is still on low. So now I can see it's really, really cooked down into like this nice velvet, delicious consistency. So I'm gonna shut my stove off, and I'm gonna leave it off because right now they're hot enough, and I'm gonna add my little secret ingredient. What we're gonna be using today is my beautiful, but kind of squished chocolate mint plant. And we're gonna put in some of this chocolate mint into our mango. So what you're gonna do is you're just going to take as much as I need, which is just like these 2 little leaves, and we're gonna put it in the recipe. So mint actually has a lot of different types. It has the spearmint, you have peppermint, and you have chocolate mint, which is pretty uncommon, but it literally smells like a chocolate mint, like mint chocolate chip ice cream almost. So because I just plucked these off the plant, I'm gonna wash them and I'm gonna remove them from the... All right. So now, the branch is not what you need. You just want to run your hand down the little stem, and all the leaves should just come off with you. And you obviously, if you get like, you know, a little sad leaf, you don't have to include it in. Thankfully, for now, my plants are decently healthy. But so I'm just going to make sure I have my wonderful chocolate mint that I've taken off of the branch, and now I'm just gonna mince it. And let's see, I can't think of too many other things that would be fantastic with mango. There is cinnamon. You could even do like mango passion is something I have done before. I do have some spare guava paste in the fridge that I was thinking about breaking out for you guys because it took me a million years to make, and I'm very, very proud of it. But right now, let's just try the mango and the chocolate mint. So I'm going to chop the mint really, 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 really tiny, because mint is one of those ingredients that when you bite into a really big piece of it, it can be a little bit off-putting if you're not someone who's, you know, big into spearmint gum, or you don't, you know, eat tablespoons of toothpaste kind of thing. So now that I have sufficiently just minced and minced and minced this little bit, I would probably call this maybe a healthy teaspoon, you know, no, definitely not reaching a tablespoon. But so with my mango mixture right here, I'm just gonna put it into the pot. And again, the burner is off right now because you don't, you know, you want to cook the mint with like the residual heat of the mango. So I'm just gonna stir it in. And what's also really nice about using a fresh ingredient is it's gonna give the mixture a nice pop of color. So it's off the burner. I can even bring it over here so you can see it. Again, even like this pot is still warm, so you don't have to turn the burner on again when you're adding the last minute things. So if I take it off, you can see the small little flecks of that mint, and you can even smell just a little bit of that chocolatiness there. And so now I am going to get a nice looking plate of pancakes and mango for you. So if you're just serving this to yourself and your loved ones, hopefully they won't mind that you're using your hands, because I'm gonna use my hands to pick up my pancake. So I have just one beautiful lone pancake to show you, and I'm gonna put just a small scoop of the mango on, just in the center. I hope my plating is good. But you know, home stuff is like a rustic feel. And I can't take too much because I have other people that are gonna want to eat this in the house. And they'll be mad if I just use, okay, thank you. All right. So I don't wanna take too much because I have a lot of people that would be mad if I finished all the pancakes. So I'm just gonna take a couple pieces of mango, make sure I get some mint in there, and give me my pancake. And let's see how the chocolate mint turned out. It turned out wonderfully. The mint was not too strong at all. Again, chopping it up in those really, really small pieces allowed it to mix really well into the sauce. And so instead of getting like a big hint or a big hit with that mint, what I'm getting is like a really smooth introduction into it. So it actually does taste like I'm eating like mango and chocolate sauce almost. So if you don't have access again to the chocolate mint like I do, even though I really recommend you have your own herb garden, add whatever sounds good to you into your mango mixture, but I definitely recommend these pancakes on a Sunday morning. My name is Hustle Goddess. This has been Hustle in Food. I'll see you next episode.